Hello, everybody. Uh, my deepest apologies. We have some technical circumstances that didn't allow us to be on time. Our meetings are always at 7:30, and so my apologies, and we will plan accordingly in order to, not those circumstances interfere with our commitments. All right. Cleaning that out, we had a very, very interesting topic to discuss, which is related to what we call the Enneagrams, which basically is the study of the personality types that everybody has. When we were brought to planet Earth, we basically were decided to choose a personality type, right? And it's very important to understand the personality types because if you're in the workplace, you need to manage with different type of personalities, and it will be incredibly difficult to change the personality of somebody. That's the responsibility of the human being that is taking that personality, and if they want to transform the personality or do some changes, or I don't know, whatever it takes, is their own responsibility. It's not your responsibility to change the personality to somebody else. But what we can do is, knowing the personality type, we can certainly take actions as far as how to communicate effectively, and maybe not taking things personal. So that's the bottom line. And that's why we are studying these personality types. I put in the title, If I Will Know This. What I meant as far as if I would have known this is that many times I judge people by their personality types, and I blame them because I want them to basically follow my personality type. That is not coherent, right? So it's better, if you want to have a result, understand that this person has a personality type. Let's say that maybe this person is an introvert and shy. He is very meticulous in what he's doing, and you don't want to put this person to be all of the sudden an extrovert, be the spirit of the party, because it's not coherent, right? So that's why it's so important to understand this. So now we are gonna develop that with Kathy, and Kathy did study the Enneagrams, and she's gonna share, and we're gonna talk about it. I believe, Kathy, this is a topic so vast that I think we will just do maybe 3 personality types, extended examples, and maybe for the next one we will do another 3. It's, discuss about this, and then the other 3. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think 3 per session is about right.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. All right. Saying that, let's develop this topic.
Well, the Enneagram Institute is pretty interesting. Created back in 1997, they're one of the most powerful and insightful tools what they have created for understanding ourselves and others. At its core, the Enneagram helps us to see ourselves at a deeper, more objective level and can be of invaluable assistance on our path to self-knowledge. Now, that is what is on their website. And I have to tell you, their information is really outstanding. Now, what I did was review each of the 9 personality types, and we will be hitting the high points in this session. But if you really want a detailed information on each of these types, go to their website because they are very, very detailed to cover everything. So let's talk about type 1, the reformer. This person is rational, idealistic, principled, self controlled, and reformers have a sense of mission that leads them to want to improve the world in various ways using whatever degree of influence they have. They strive to overcome adversity, particularly moral adversity, so that the human spirit can shine through and make a difference. They strive after higher values, even at the cost of great personal sacrifice.
Let's develop this slide. I think is very 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 has a lot of insight. Um, so those are the kind of human beings that have this sense of mission. Like if I will put an example, maybe Martin Luther King could be categorized as someone that is in this um, type one, the reformer, rational, idealistic type, principled, self-control.
Yeah.
What about, you know,
Gandhi, that's another one.
Gandhi?
There have been a lot of people down through history who had a sense of mission, and they were prepared to do whatever it took to get the message across, even if it meant being imprisoned or being assassinated. You know, Gandhi was thrown in prison, Martin Luther King was assassinated. But even though they knew that they were in danger, they were willing to risk it for what they felt was their mission, to let people know the truth. These are our leaders, and we can learn a lot from them.
Right. So on this one, we need to be very careful. Um, and I think why I am stating this, because you may have also what we call the false prophets, right? Those are basically uh, the false prophets are, could be leaders that they will try to convince you that they have a sense of mission, but they is their strike is not higher values, actually is lower values. Is they are making all of these sacrifices for their own benefit, but they try to sell it to you that they are doing things for humanity. So
Like the Jim Jones of the world.
yeah,
Do you remember Jim Jones?
no,
When
please.
he carried all the people over to live in, I think it was Guyana. And then he had them all commit suicide. They drank the Kool-Aid, literally drank the Kool-Aid that was spiked and that killed them all. But there are some people out there who will blindly follow anybody. They are lost souls, Raul. And one of the things they need to learn is, I always did this. When I got on my spiritual path, I wanted to read anything and everything and study it all. So I asked God to give me the power to discern the truth. And this is what people should be asking, so they don't get misled by some person on a mission who is really, really evil. There are a lot of those out there.
Yeah, so that's why we are elaborating in the specifics. That's why I like these questions and brainstorming, so that people know that, like whatever we are sharing with them is something that they will have some value to them by understanding the types, right? So the reformer, the rational idealistic type, principle, self-control.
Mhm.
Um, so question. So we're talking about Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Obviously, they are, human beings that has deeply developed, you know, um, their soul. But can you imagine someone in your family, someone maybe a friend that you could say? Oh, she's a type one. She's a sort of the reformer kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a question to you, basically.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I could think of anybody in my particular family or workforce or friendship. And I do remember one particular person who, the typical reformer, and she was hell bent on getting the word out about the feminist movement. She would have been the one out there taking her bra and burning her bra. So she went to the extreme, if you want to know the truth. And unfortunately, when a reformer has tunnel vision, they will march through clearing the way with anybody that gets in their way. And they are so focused on this injustice that they miss the whole point. And unfortunately, this is what happened to my friend. Instead of compromising and allowing people to hear the positive points that she was making, she ended up completely losing everybody who just shook their head and said, I can't even deal with this woman. So, this is when the reformer needs to be toned down a little bit.
Hmm. That's a nice, nice, nice one. Absolutely. All right.
Well, these
All right.
reformers are all so afraid of making a mistake. Everything must be consistent with their ideals. They're orderly, well organized, but impersonal, puritanical, emotionally constricted, rigidly keeping their feelings and impulses in check. Workaholics, they're what we call anal compulsive.
It seems that Kathy connection is freeze. Um, but basically, when we are looking into this type one, um, the reformer kind of personality, um, they tend to be have some personality traits that are, um, you know, like Kathy was saying, right? So it's very a personality of someone that is a workaholic or is pedantic and fastidious. And so the idea here is not to judge the personality, it's just to acknowledge that they come to you with that kind of feature. And so you just observe what how how his or her personality is, and don't take it personal, right? This is very interesting because if you understand that she or he has this sort of personality, then you already know, okay, so I understand now why she or he is pedantic, and now I understand why she or he is super well organized, but impersonal, or emotional constricted, because that's her personality, that's his personality, right? And then you can go around that and take it the positive instead of taking the negative. Well, that's why it's very important, to really understand the personality traits. Um, all right. Let's come with some insights. Um, so Scott Switchwell is the president of the Brain Science of Communications, and he basically is giving an opinion of how really, really, how it's so important to really appreciate the different personality traits. Okay, so in line of that, how we are going to appreciate the Taiwan reformers, right? All right. So the reformers strive in an organized environment in which they have the freedom and space to do their job, right? So if you are dealing with a Taiwan reformer, um, you may give them the freedom and the space to do their job, right? Because you know that they will work very hard and will continue to happily put forth their best efforts if they are recognized and appreciated, right? Great teammates will be other individuals who appreciate direction and prefer to work under pressure. So that's where you can count on reformer on those individuals that has a Taiwan reformers Taiwan, because you can count on them, right? And you know that the reformers will do things right and to perfection. And now the challenge arises, um, if you can count on them to do it ethically, right? So there is a supervision, process that you need to, like check and balance kind of thing to make sure that, they will do this ethically. Most likely they will, because most of the time reformers have high values, but like we were, elaborating, what about if they don't have higher values, they have lower values, right? That goes to their own benefit. So that's, the balance and check we are talking about. But in general terms, I will say that most reformer has higher values, right? So that's the trademark for those kind of individuals. All right, let's see. Well, actually, Kat is here now. She's back. Kathy, we lost you.
I
Are
know
you back?
what happened. It said
Yeah.
I lost internet.
Oh, okay. Well, no problem. I was picking up where you were, and so while you were connecting, so um, basically, I was elaborating in this slide where I was saying how in the workforce we can use reformers um, to achieve a sort of competitive advantage, because we know that they will operate well if they have freedom and space to do their job. Obviously, if you provide with that space, they will happily put forth their best efforts, um, as they will be recognized and appreciated. Um, Lastly, I will just elaborate in that typically most of the reformers, I, I would say, have higher values. Nevertheless, there may be some reformers that have lower values, and that's where you need a balance and check. Meaning to, if you have this kind of Taiwan reformers, you may need to supervise them just to make sure that they are using the higher values, not the lower values, as we were talking, as we were like elaborating minutes ago.
Well, one thing to remember with this particular personality type, the more you give them credit and show your appreciation, the more they will work. However, failure to do that can turn the person on you, and they will justify in their mind maybe sabotaging something because they feel like you did not give them the proper recognition they deserved. So that is the downside of a reformer. Let them know how much they're appreciated. They'll do anything in the world for you. Ignore them. You better watch out.
Yeah. And so the question is that this sounds like the type of person you want on your team.
Mm-hmm. Yep, by
So
pairing reformers up with the right people who will share the workload, Recognizing their hard work, the reformers in your organization will be longtime loyal and trusted employees.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the beauty of elaborating the personality traits, because knowing the personality, you can take the best from that from that human being, right?
Yes.
So that's awesome. Type
Now,
two.
type 2 is the helper. This is the caring, interpersonal type, generous, demonstrative, people pleasing, and possessive.
Yep.
Helpers are empathetic, sincere, and warm hearted. They are friendly, generous, self sacrificing, but can also be sentimental, flattering, and people pleasing. They are well meaning and driven to be close to others, but can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. They typically have problems with possessiveness and with acknowledging their own needs. At their best, unselfish and altruistic, they have unconditional love for others. Helpers become overly intimate and intrusive. They need to be needed, so they hover, meddle, and control in the name of love. Want others to depend on them, give but expect a return. They send out double messages. Enveloping and possessive, the codependent, self sacrificial person who cannot do enough for others, wearing themselves out for everyone, creating needs for themselves to fulfill. We see this with a lot of movies we watch with the actors or actresses who have their assistant. Perfect example. The assistant is the hovering one who is there to meet every single need. It's hero worship. You know what I'm saying? How to
Yeah.
appreciate helpers. Our helpers make great team members because of their love of people, sociability, and their inner drive to relate to others. They crave harmonious and positive relationships at work and do this through encouraging coworkers. A helper would never fail to relate to a dejected colleague as they display a sincere loyalty toward the people they know and things they care about. Thriving on security, helpers do well in environments that are steady and allow them to do work at their own pace. Make your helper feel valued by showing appreciation and listening to their problems. Helpers know and seek out life's little pleasures, share in them with the helper you know, and you will find a new connection. Let the helper know they are important to you by looking them in the eyes when you talk to them.
Yeah. This is so awesome, because in the workplace you do have a lot of helpers. This the personality type two, the helper, the care interpersonal, the care interpersonal, generous, demonstrative, people pleasing, and possessive. The possessive part is the one that we need to watch out,
Yes. And
right?
you will notice in some of the movies that we have watched where the helper becomes so possessive that they will actually go knock off somebody that has been interfering with the person to whom they are enamored. Perfect example of the helpers who go overboard.
Right. And also the one this is great, because you will see also that a human being has a mix of personalities, a feature of type 1 and a feature of type 2,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep.
So that's great. And I love what we are doing here, because if you are listening to this, you can also self-reflect as far as you identifying who you are, right? Oh, I am a type 1, but I also am a type 2 because I have this feature and this feature and this feature.
Mm-hmm.
Only you will be able to define what features you have, right? So that I found this very awesome.
How to appreciate helpers. But they make great team members because of their love of people and their social ability, blah, 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 and their inner drive to relate to others. They crave harmonious and positive relationships at work and do this through encouraging coworkers. They would never fail to relate to a dejected colleague as they display a sincere loyalty. We just went through this. Thriving on securities, helpers
Yep.
will do well in environments that are steady and allow them to do work at their own pace. I already read that one. Oh, so we talked about appreciation and everything. How about type 3, the achiever? I'm sure we've all seen some of these. The success-oriented, pragmatic type. They're adaptable, excelling, driven, and image conscious. I especially saw this when I was an on-site sales agent for a home builder. Going to the weekly sales meetings and listen to them bragging on the number of sales they made that week. They are self-assured, attractive, and charming, ambitious, competent, and energetic. They can also be status conscious and highly driven for advancement. They are diplomatic and poised, but can also be overly concerned with their image and what others think of them. They typically have problems with workaholism and competitiveness. At their best, self-acceptive, authentic, everything they seem to be, role models who inspire others. Achievers become image conscious, highly concerned with how they are perceived, begin to package themselves according to the expectations of others and what they need to do to be successful. Pragmatic and efficient, but also premeditated, losing touch with their own feelings beneath a smooth facade. They have problems with intimacy, credibility, and phoniness.
What do you mean by phoniness? Oh, we lost Kathy. Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
we lost you too. So apparently both of us are having internet problems.
Yeah, no, actually, the internet here is quite good, but I
Oh,
don't know.
I've never had a problem with internet before. So this is a first for me.
Yeah. So I was asking, what phoniness mean?
What does phony mean? Well, when phony comes into your mind, it's because you're listening to somebody brag about something that they have exaggerated so much out of shape that you know that they're just lying and they are phonies. They are trying to impress you with their grandiose accomplishments, but those who know them personally know that they have really gone overboard in exaggerating those accomplishments.
Mhm.
We've seen a lot of those, haven't we? So,
Yep.
how do you appreciate achievers? If you work with high achievers, they will need to know what you expect of them and will need to be stretched and find their work challenging and interesting. They may also need to be encouraged to take risks to help overcome any fear of failure. Keep your coworkers who are high achievers engaged with stimulating work activities, especially if there are limited opportunities for advancement. High achievers have a deep-seated need to achieve. They're driven, natural leaders, and they have the persistence and self-discipline needed to accomplish long-term goals, but they need to be managed appropriately to help them to achieve their full potential. If you work with a high achiever, embrace honest failure and create an environment where high achievers won't be afraid to try out new ideas and put new skills to the test.
Mhm.
Provide regular feedback so that people know how to improve their performance, but take care to balance constructive criticism with praise and thanks for their hard work. Now,
Okay.
go back a minute. Let me share one story. I used to run a mortgage company, and I had, I think 15 or 20 loan officers. Some were good producers, some were not so good. And my boss was really getting upset about it, and he wanted me to go fire some of the people. But I made a suggestion to him. I suggested that we create a certain contest. And if we could get every single loan officer to close $1 million or more within a 1-month period, then we would give them all a cruise. Not only the loan officers, but all of the loan processors and the entire staff. Well, he went ballistic. And he said, "Are you out of your mind? I can't afford that." And I said, "I want you to take your calculator, and I want you to take 20 people who close $1 million in loans in 1 month. How much does that come to?" He said 20 million. I said, "Okay. And what is the profit for you on $20 million? You're going to make at least 2-3%, right? Do the math. What is 3% of 20 million?" And he did a little calculating, and I think it was something like 600,000, $750,000 he made in 1 month if he could motivate all of his loan officers to close 1 million a month. So he said to go for it. So when I presented it to the staff and told them where we were going and what we're going to do, they got all excited, especially since the processors and everybody got to go too. And here's what was amazing, Raul, because I will be quite honest with you. I went to God and asked for guidance on this, because I had the big hot shots that all they did was brag. And then I had the people who just puttered along. And then I had the people, "I just can't do this, so we're in the hole." But God said, if you present them with this challenge, you're going to see the high producers helping the low producers, because they have a goal. Their goal is to get that cruise. They get to take their wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, husband. And that's exactly what happened. For the top producers, they kind of picked up the slow moving people and helped them along. I said, "You have 3 months to make this goal. So by the 3rd month, all of you have to close $1 million or more." When I was an originator, I always closed at least $1 million. That was no big deal to me. Guess what? Not only did the top producers help the stragglers, but the loan processors got involved. And they pushed these people to take a good loan app and get the right documentation so the loans could be approved quicker. And you know what, Raul? We met that goal and we went on the cruise. But here's something else that God had told me. He said, when the stragglers finally reach that goal of $1 million a month, that will become their standard. That will be what they will continue to do from that point forward. And that is exactly what happened. And I have to tell you, years later, I ran into one of the loan officers that I managed. And he said, "I have to tell you, you were the toughest boss I ever had, but never did I produce as much as when I worked for you. I wish you were here with me now."
That's so awesome. That's a good, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And you know what? These top producers who helped the other ones along, they knew the joy of giving. And it changed them. It changed so many of them. And from that point forward, they were all one big happy family. So if you properly guide some of these braggarts or high achievers, look at me, look at me, look at me, it's amazing what they will do to help other people.
That's so awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Kathy, we exceed our time.
Mhm.
And again, apologies to everybody. We were supposed to start at 7:30. I will do a better job. Don't blame Kathy. That's all on me. Yeah. So so next Thursday 7:30 we'll pick up with personality number 4, right?
Yep.
And so, hey, send us a message. Send us a message if you have any questions. I think this is uh, so beautiful because it really will help companies, and not just companies, your life. You will try to understand what your personality trait is as well. All right, but we will talk more in our next session. All right, have a
Take
beautiful
care.
day, and remember, God loves you.
Absolutely.
All right, Kathy. See you next Thursday.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.